Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Alain. A few minutes late because I was busy working on the newsletter and then doing some physical therapy exercises. Then I had to zip down here and quick as I could. Navigating stairs is still difficult, especially going down. But got down here to the office where I could talk about the books, The Real Benjamin Franklin and Long Lost. Those are the books we'll talk about today on Book Saturday. I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying the weekend. If you're working, I hope that's going well as well. Well as well. How about that for creative language? Yeah, need some more coffee. Working on the newsletter this morning between exercise sets. So you can get that newsletter at enjoylifesafely.com. A lot of good stuff there. Blog posts, all the Coffee with Alain episodes, free downloads, newsletter, courses, everything to help make your life better. So go there and check it out. I like to share books on many Saturdays, things that I've been reading, inspire you to read. Maybe something I've read you'll like and you'll add it to your reading list. If not, I'm hoping it will inspire you to read something that you will enjoy or something that you will learn from, because we read for entertainment, we read for education, a wealth of both if you just go out and read. And so I do this to encourage you to do more reading. Real Ben Franklin. I like this book. It's a little bit different than the big biography that I read by him, about him recently. But, it goes through his life in the high points. And then the second half is a lot of things that he wrote on different topics. So it's an alphabetical list of different things that he wrote about. It says Timeless Treasures from Benjamin Franklin. The first entry, Adams, John. And there's several entries about John Adams, of what Franklin said about him. And you just go through alphabetically. There's a whole bunch of passages about England and different things about England. There's something about happiness and duty. There's something about Hillsborough, music, mutiny, Negroes, New Zealand. So all sorts of different topics and what he wrote about those. So I enjoyed that because it's very different than the other biography I read, which was more like the first half of this book. But that second half had all of those different entries about different topics. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, with my daughter going to Penn, university that he started, the University of Pennsylvania, one of the Ivy League schools. And so there are statues and everything around University of Pennsylvania and around Philadelphia where he was prominent. And so, I pulled out a couple books to learn a little bit more about him, influenced because of my daughter going to school there. The other book I read recently, Harlan Coben's Long Lost. Now, recently, my wife and I watched I Will Find You on Netflix, and that was a story by Harlan Coben. And what I didn't know, it turns out he has like 13 miniseries on Netflix of his books. We watched that one, and then we found a couple more, and we were enjoying them. There was one, I forget the name of it, but my wife didn't like it, said, you can finish that one. But we watched a couple, and from what I understand, there's 13 of them. So there's a whole bunch more we can watch or check out. But I said, I knew the name, but I had never read any of his books. But I said, I think I have some by him down there, because I've told you sometimes I go to those big book sales and they'll say, on Sundays, I have a bag of books for $10. And I'll get those ones that I really like and want and put them in the bag. And if there's room on top, I go over to the paperback novel section and I just start tossing some in to fill up the bag that look like they might be good. And so I went down and looked on the shelf, and yeah, I had this one. And so it was the first of his that I have read, and I enjoyed it. This one is actually part of a series with a couple characters, and the Myron Voltaire character and his buddy Wynn. And there's some before this and maybe some more after it. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. And so I might seek out some more of his books to read. This one, the main character got a call about a woman that he knew long ago, hadn't seen for years because she had disappeared, and she needed help right now. And he drops everything to go to Paris to help and find out what's going on. And there's murder and intrigue and different things going on that they get delved into. So I thought it was well done. I enjoyed it. I will probably read more of his. Those are the two books I wanted to do today and get through them quickly and jump off here so I can get back to work on the newsletter and do some more PT exercises soon. That's an all day, every day kind of thing lately. Going to say good morning to Thad. Thad's here and said good morning. Thank you, Thad. Appreciate that. Dixon's here and said maybe in this week's newsletter you can give tips on how to use up any leftover fireworks. Thank you, Dixon. I wouldn't be the person to give tips on that because I don't spend money on fireworks. I don't partake in fireworks, especially after having Rocky because he's so scared. I mean, my 4th of July night was down here in the office in the downstairs part of the house, not right here where I do my work, but over back there with Rocky, trying to keep him comforted. And he was on my lap and with me the whole night because he's so scared of fireworks. So I really don't know how to use up any leftover ones. I know there were people using them up last night because it scared the heck out of Rocky. So won't have tips on those. I will say if you have fireworks, whether you do them on the 4th of July or before or after, you got to be safe about them. Right here in Missoula, a family lost their home. I mean, I saw pictures of it and it was burned completely. I think they lost just about everything. Very little was salvaged probably after that fire. And the fire apparently was set by a firework that instead of shooting up, shot over to their house, got in the bushes, and they lost their home and just about everything in it. Then online, obviously, you have all the people arguing about fireworks and you shouldn't have them. You should have them. They're illegal, this or that. I'm not going to get into that, but I am going to say it was pretty terrible that a family lost everything on a day that was supposed to be fun, and just illustrates that, the safety stuff I talk about, it's important because people do become injured, killed, lose things when they shouldn't. And that's why being safe is so important so we can enjoy more. But thank you for that, Dixon. I appreciate it. I went sort of off on a tangent, but appreciate that. Hello, Eric. Thank you for being here. Eric said howdy from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you much, Eric. I appreciate that. And Dixon said Coben has been featured on CBS free commercial TV as a summer filter as opposed to reruns after Survivor had run its course. I like his stuff, and I like the series, the I Will Find You. I really like that. Was the first of his Netflix miniseries that my wife and I ever watched, and it was like in #1 recently. And that's why you turn on Netflix and there it is, and it was enjoyable. And then we watched a couple. We saw there's some more. We watched a couple more. Now I realize there's 13 of them, so there's more for us to watch. And so I just went down and started looking at the bookshelf. Do I have any? I thought I had some of his books and grabbed this one off the shelf and enjoyed it. I'll trade it off now and look for more of his stuff to read. But thanks for putting that because I didn't know he was on CBS as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining and commenting and watching later and listening to the podcast. Appreciate all of you. Hope you have a spectacular Saturday, a fantastic weekend. Make it great because it's up to you to make things the way that you want them. I will be back to see you tomorrow.